didn't win this election, and if you had a moron like Kamala or a moron like Sleepy Joe Biden, if you had these people back, our country would have been finished. We wouldn't have had a country. So just 1 year ago, under crooked Joe Biden, and he was crooked as hell, we inherited a mess. We inherited the worst inflation in history, Joe Biden in Afghanistan, where he had no idea, had no clue what he was doing. Biden and the horrible people that he surrounded himself with, he wasn't calling the shots. They've done to us, other countries, what they've done. They almost put us out of business. And I'll tell you, if I didn't win this election, and if you had a moron like Kamala or a moron like Sleepy Joe Biden, if you had these people back, our country would have been finished. We wouldn't have had a country. So just yesterday, I was visited by the CEO of the drug company, Novartis. So just 1 year ago, under crooked Joe Biden, and he was crooked as hell, our country was dead. Now we have the hottest country. In 1 year, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world, right, Kelly? Any time in the history of our country, there are more Americans working today. In 4 years, Sleepy Joe Biden got less than $1 trillion of new investment into the United States. So in 4 years, he got a lot less than $1 trillion. But with our pro-American economic growth and the use of tariffs, we've already secured commitments for over $18 trillion. So think of this. In 11 months, because we haven't even gotten to last month, in 11 months, we have $18 trillion worth of investment coming into this country. And here's an example of it. Nice family, by the way. That's better looking than your crane. I like the family better than the crane. I've won affordability. I had to go out and talk about it. But we inherited a mess. We inherited the worst inflation in history. But I'd like to correct it, because it's actually, the fake news corrected me. He exaggerated. He said it was the worst inflation in history, and it's only 48 years. So I apologize for that, Kelly. I apologize. So it's the worst inflation in 48. Actually, I think they're wrong. I think it is actually in history. We had the worst inflation in history under Sleepy Joe Biden. He was sleeping while you were working. Plus, we have a great relationship with a country named Venezuela. You've heard about Venezuela? And we're helping them very much with their oil. They get a lot of oil, we do too. But we're helping them a lot. We took 50 million barrels of oil is right now floating very nicely in extremely large ships to Houston, where it's processed. And it's going to be great for Venezuela. The president's doing an excellent job, getting along great. But that was a very strong attack, would you say? It was a very strong attack. That wasn't like Jimmy Carter. That wasn't like Sleepy Joe Biden in Afghanistan, where he had no idea, had no clue what he was doing. Take the equipment. You know, I was getting out of Afghanistan. We were going to get out with dignity, strength. They feared us, but we shouldn't have been there, frankly. But we were getting out with dignity and strength, taking all the equipment. He left the equipment. They said, leave everything. Let's go. I said, what do you mean? You're leaving a $150 million airplane? And one of the generals told me, that's when I knew he was a stupid general, Milley. Sir, it's better to leave the plane. I think it's cost efficient. You're going to leave a $150 million plane because you don't want to fill it up with a tank of gas? These people were so stupid. But now we have General Raisin Cane. He's a little different. A little different. Our tax cuts, regulation cuts, energy price cuts, and job-creating trade policies are rapidly pulling America out of the economic disaster that Biden and the horrible people that he surrounded himself with. He wasn't calling the shots. He wasn't calling the shots. The auto pen people were calling the shots. Whoever the hell worked the auto pen. I don't know how he did it. You know, I have people, sir, would you sign this? We're making a 4-star general. Sir, would you sign this? We're doing a big plant. Would you? They're all important. You don't give that to an auto pen. It's so demeaning. You're a general, you're an admiral. You don't give that to an auto pen to sign. I think that within the next 12 months, maybe sooner, but within the next 12 months, it's going to be the greatest it's ever been. I don't think we've ever seen anything. When Steve Moore told me yesterday, he said, we've never seen numbers. We're going to have an explosion of success, and that's exactly. And the more successful our country, the more successful everybody in this room is. And under Biden, real wages plummeted by $3,000 a year. And there's still much to do, frankly, but our numbers came up. We outpaced inflation for the first time in decades. We increased wage gains for a typical worker, outpaced inflation by over $1,400. For miners, it was $2,200. And for the typical worker at factories like this one, it was almost $4,000 a year that we outpaced inflation. And that hasn't happened in many, many years. Every day we're fighting to reduce costs and bring down prices for hardworking citizens, including crushing costs on health care. And in fact, I read a nice story a few months ago. I love to read things about health care. Can you believe it? I didn't used to read it, now I read it. And what happened is I see that health care was spending, insurance companies are getting from our country for health care trillions and trillions of dollars. And their stock prices have gone up by as much as 1,700%. How would you like to invest in those stocks? 1,700%. And I said right then and there, I said, and it went viral. And knowing nothing about it, it went viral. I said, we shouldn't pay the insurance companies anymore. We should pay the trillions of dollars directly to the people and let the people buy their own health care. Put it in a health care account, and people loved it, and we're looking at it. We're looking at it. The problem is the Democrats are totally bought off and taken care of by the insurance companies, so they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it because they're captive to the insurance companies. Under our most favored nation agreements, and this is the thing that I think every Republican should win on, even if you hate them in every other way. Agreements for drug prices, that we're slashing drug prices by 400, 500, even 600%. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Because we were paying the highest drug prices in the world, and now we're paying whatever the lowest price is in the world. That's the price we're paying. And to do that was also tariffs. I called countries. When I finally got the healthcare companies, the people that make the drugs to do it, and remember, that's going to lower your health care because medicine's a big part of the drugs, and it's coming down at numbers like that. But I got the drug companies to do it, and then they said, doesn't matter, you'll never get the countries to do it, because the countries had to agree. So a pill that's selling for $10 in New York is selling, let's say in London, in New York is selling for $130, 13 times more. Think of that, 13 times more. So they said, there's no way they'll ever do it. I said, yes, there is, 100%. I started calling the heads of countries, like France, Emmanuel Macron, he's a good guy. I said, Emmanuel, you're going to have to double the price of your, see, the world is bigger, so you don't have to bring it up like to the middle. They would have to double or triple the price, but that's a lot for a politician. I said, Emmanuel, you're going to have to lift your price by double or triple. No way, I will not do that, Donald. Why would I do that? I would be out of business. I said, no, you're going to do it 100%. No, I will not do that. I will not do that. Yes, you will. You're going to do it. And he said, no. I said, here's the story. If you don't do it, I'm going to put a 100% tariff on all of the wine and champagne that you sell into the United States. And you know what he said? I will do it. I will gladly do it. And that's going to cost you many, many times more, right? Howard heard me. With many people. I called Germany. I called many, many countries. Spain was no. We won't do that. He laughed at me, thought I was a fool. We won't do that, sir. Why would I do a thing like that? Because I'm going to charge you tariffs if you don't, and the tariffs are going to cost you much more than what we're talking about. And they all said, like I said, we'd love to do it. We'd be honored to do it.